Okay. Hi. So this video is actually part of a homework assignment, project thing. So basically, I just want to talk a little bit about things that I've been learning, mostly working with the children that I work with, and the families, the dynamics and everything. Um, and to be honest, one of the things that has been the most obvious struggle working with these families is public, the public, I should say, and the public's reaction, and just the way that these families are treated by schools and by even healthcare professionals and everything like that. So um, to start, I will talk about one particular case, a family that has two developmentally disabled children on the autistic spectrum and one typical child. And things have gotten so bad with the school system that the parents have had to bring an attorney to their meetings to make sure that what is said in the meetings gets followed through with. And one of the kids is nonverbal, and they have a device to communicate, and this device has been revamped and has way too many icons and choices, and ones that are not even in this child's awareness of being able to use them. They're just not useful, and it seems that they don't give this child enough options to really express himself, and it's difficult. And there are some signs and things like that that this child uses, but it seems that it would be beneficial to have more options and more choices for the limited things that this child knows. And so it seems that ever since this device was changed, it's not being used anymore, and it's like there was no transition, there was no trying to get from maybe 12 icons to 16 to 20, and then to see how it would go, it just went from like very few to like abundance, and I worry because I think that this kid wants to express themselves, and they get really frustrated when they can't, and when your only means of communication are changed and not really explained, and it's just really difficult. And it seems like the school is just constantly battling this family, and they wanted to remove the one-to-one, and it's like it's something that this child needs. And the occupational therapist said this child can do their own shoes, which is not true. And they can put the shoes on, and you still have to tie them for them. And if you give, no matter what shoe you give this child, they put it on the right foot. So there's still not an awareness of which shoe goes on which foot. Even when they're on the wrong, this child doesn't really feel the difference. I believe he probably would walk around with them that way if no one fixed it for him. And I handed this child a water bottle, and he didn't know how to take off the top. He's very capable of doing that. It's just, these are basic skills that I don't know why the occupational therapist hasn't worked on or isn't working on. It seems that it's very limiting, and it seems like recently they've been discussing transitioning to adulthood, which this kid is not even 13, and seems rather early, and there are a lot of basic hygiene and those kind of things that need to be done, and the school is supposed to be specific for developmentally disabled children, and it's not like it's special needs in a regular school that they can't meet the needs of this kid. It just seems like it's easy to fall through the cracks, and it's easy for the school system to kind of just push him aside because he's nonverbal. He can't say what's going on. He can't express, the frustration. Besides through behaviors, and then the school just gets angry that he's, acting out. like, there was a day that his device was locked. He couldn't get into it, and he had behaviors, and no one understood what was going on. And it's like, imagine if your voice was just taken away from you, and you couldn't speak ever again, and you had to just express yourself through body language, and people were just not listening or just not getting it. And this kid's very smart, like, he's created his own signs, and he knew that he got in trouble one time for scratching, so he does this for bad. So when he does that, you usually, no, you're not being bad, you're fine. Or if he is, then you could tell him that he is. But he is very capable of expressing and understanding and connecting things together, and it's just makes me very sad that that's kind of where that family is. And a lot of it is the communication among the family members, and they have one typical child, and so there's a lot of worry on my end that the typical child isn't getting enough attention sometimes. And so what I do is I go in, and I'm a respite worker, and so what I'm supposed to do is give the family respite. So it could be just helping them out in the morning. It could be taking the kids out and letting the family clean, or the parents want to go out to dinner. So it's like, in some ways, it's advanced babysitting, but I don't like to consider it that because, I almost have a master's degree, and you can't have anyone watch autistic kids or kids with other developmental disabilities. So I think it's a lot more than that, and sometimes it's tutoring, and it really just depends on the functioning of the child, the needs of the family, and things like that. So the next family I'm going to go to is an 8-year-old, and this child has trouble with communicating as well, but is verbal. The words don't come out right, and a lot of times it sounds almost like a broca's aphasia mixed with like someone who's had a stroke, maybe. So there's a lot of stuttering and things like that. Seems like this family really weren't told what they can have for services, I guess. Like, they always feel guilty asking me to come, and to try to explain to them that it's my job and it's what I do. And for this family, a lot of times it's they need me to take them out, and I take a sister with us, and we go to the rail trail and we exercise and we go swimming, and I'm certified and everything, so it's not a big deal. And sometimes it's just going to Dunkin' Donuts and getting a hot cocoa. It's not really huge things. I don't spend a lot of money, but when I mention the public, this is a particular case that makes me very, very sad, because one of the first times I took this child out, we went to CVS. I don't remember what his mother wanted us to pick up, but we had to get something, and I just, right next to me, turned to the cooler to get something to drink, and picked up the phone intercom and was blabbering on it. So then everyone in the entire store was glaring at me like, you need to control your child. So there's the assumption that this child is mine, which is fine. He very well could be. But, a lot of times it's these looks from people that are, I don't know if they're fear or just misunderstanding and judgment. For some reason, I found a lot when working with developmentally disabled adults, specifically Down syndrome, really any that have physical appearance changes, like Williams, can't really think of any others right now, but there's some kind of disconnect between adults and children, where when you're working with developmentally disabled adults, most of the time, not all the time, because I've seen plenty of times that this is not the case, but it takes them a second to realize that this adult is developmentally disabled, but once they do, it's almost like they feel like they understand, and there's like a relief, and so there's less fear and less staring and less judgment and all that. But with kids, a lot of the times, unless they are Down syndrome or any other disability that is obvious, I guess you'd say, they judge and they assume that it's behavioral and that it's out of control and this you're a bad parent and all those things. And it's, you know, this child that I'm working with is very, you know, he definitely has a lot of disabilities, and you know, they're not visible, and so all people see is the behaviors. And it wouldn't take very long for a person to listen to the way that the child speaks for them to realize that there's something else going on, but like they don't have the patience, they don't have the empathy or the concern, or it's just, I'm inconvenienced by your child yelling. And it's very sad to me. There's so much staring, and you know, everyone's always yelling at this child to not stare, and I'm thinking to myself, probably learning it from everyone else, like not his family necessarily, but people just staring at him all the time. And he's such a good kid, and it just makes me so sad because I don't know that he will ever realize that people are staring like that, but it's just, it's difficult, and it makes me really wish that I could, you know, teach people more. My computer just blacked out. And just like have more open dialogue about it. And you know, instead of staring, why don't you get on your, you know, everyone has a smartphone these days. Go on your smartphone and look up some stuff and like learn about it. And you know, I obviously can't talk to you about it when I'm with the child, because sometimes people come up to me and like kind of start asking me questions. I'm like, hello, HIPAA. But I don't say anything. You know, I don't acknowledge that I'm working. I wear my daily like comfy clothes, and I could be this child's aunt, I could be his mother, I could be anybody. So that's really all I'm going to say right now. I have plenty of other stories and other people that I work with, but those are some of the things that I'm learning right now, and I have to do a journal-ish thing to write my paper at the end, so I thought I'd make some videos to help me along with that process so that I can have some things that I want to write about. And one is going to be family systems, because there's a lot of miscommunication among family members, and there's a lot of lack of support between families in the sense of family to family. I think sometimes they benefit from having a relationship with another family, because then they can see what's useful for the other families and what services that they're accessing and things like that. So a lot of resources that are not out there and that they are not aware of. So there's that. And then I want to talk a lot about the public and perceptions and misconceptions and assumptions and things like that. So thanks for checking in. I'm sorry this was super long, and my dogs are getting antsy, so I've got to go feed them. Alright, so have a great day, and I'll hopefully make another video really soon, because I need to get this project done. Alright, bye.